Well, hey, and welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about my experience with the Friedman ASC-10 Reference Cabinet. It's a guitar modeling solution that I've been using in my live playing for some time now, and it's manufactured by Friedman Amplification. Let's take a look. So the ASC-10 features a Class G power amp, which is an all-analog circuit, and it also features a biamped design. It has a 10-inch custom Celestion speaker and a 1-inch horn to complement that. And you'll notice if you look on Friedman's website, they never refer to it as an FR cabinet. And I think that's something to be said because that word gets thrown around a lot, especially in the modeling world. You know, you have to have the best FR speaker, or what are kind of the best hot new FR speakers. And this one is strictly marketed as a reference cabinet, so it's emulating that of a guitar cabinet specifically. So the build and the tonal qualities they're trying to get out of it is supposed to emulate that of an actual guitar cabinet on stage with you pushing air. It's not supposed to give you maybe that hi-fi sound that something like a headrush speaker or other PA speaker will give you. It's basically aimed at someone who wants that guitar cabinet look and feel on stage. So my experience with the ASC-10 is I've been really happy with it. It is very capable of keeping up with a drummer if that's something that you're worried about. I find the speaker to be very, very loud. I don't think I've ever actually had it over about halfway. The Friedman unit with a quad cortex, and obviously the different modelers and stuff like that, they will translate differently over this cabinet as it is a reference cabinet, not an FR speaker, as I mentioned before. But for the use of the quad cortex through this, I've been really happy with it, and the thing looks really good. That is one thing that I really do like about it. It looks like an amplifier. I've had a lot of people come up and say, man, your tone sounds so good. Must be because you're using a Friedman amplifier. And well, the joke's on them because my sound that they're hearing is actually the direct sound. It's not going through the Friedman, but I do agree that this thing sounds really good. There's a couple different versions, actually I guess 4 different versions if you add them all up, of this reference cabinet. There's the ASC and then the ASM. So the ASM is like a kind of a monitor or wedge style speaker. You can tilt it back towards your head, I guess, or towards yourself, and you can hear yourself a little bit better on stage. I opted for the ASC because I wanted something that was a little bit more like a traditional guitar cabinet, and I just liked the look of it better. So that's what I chose. And then obviously there's a 10-inch and there's a 12-inch. Now if you go online and search these units up, it's fairly unanimous that the ASC or ASM 10-inch version is a lot less boomier than the 12 and a lot less dark sounding than the 12. I guess that makes sense because you have a 10-inch speaker which generally doesn't generate as much low end as the 12-inch. But yeah, most of the reviews that I read before I purchased the product said that the ASC-12 or the ASM-12 with anything with a 12-inch speaker in it definitely has a lot of a darker sound. And as we'll see a little bit later, the dark tonality or dark character of this cabinet is quite pronounced, and I've had to kind of adjust the global EQ in my quad cortex to compensate a little bit for that. So again, it's not marketed as an FR solution. It is a reference cabinet, and this is, I guess, just how this reference cabinet is supposed to sound according to Dave Friedman. In terms of adjustments on the back of the unit, you really don't have much. They give you a low cut, and that's basically it. You have a level, you have a ground lift, and you have a couple of status LEDs and a big heat sink, and that's basically all you can do with it. Most of the tonal adjustments, if you have to make any, will come right from your modeler, whether you're using the quad cortex or a fractal product or even a Kemper unit, something like that. You can usually adjust those things, like there's a global EQ or something like that, that you can shape kind of how you want the reference cab to sound. And I'll give some sound demonstrations now. First we will hear the DI sound of just my quad cortex into my DAW, and then we will hear the reference cab through a mic into the DAW as well. So as you can hear from those sound clips, the cabinet is quite dark sounding. So with the quad cortex that I use, I have to put a boost on the 2K in the graph on the global EQ, and that basically probably a 2.5 to 3 dB boost on that, and that gets me closer to what I'm hearing through my studio monitors. Now, I don't have a big crazy setup. I've got a really basic setup with some fairly inexpensive studio monitors, and I'm kind of just, you know, every gig that I go to, I'm trying to listen to the front of house and see how they're how everything's translating, and I'm also obviously listening to the Friedman cab as well. And yeah, the general consensus online holds very true in my experience, and that it is a very dark sounding cabinet. And you also get quite a bit of bass coupling because the unit is contacting the floor. I always have the low cut activated on the unit, and as I said, generally when I'm running it through the quad cortex, I'll have the 2K boosted to about 3 decibel. So let's talk about kind of value proposition and what you're getting versus some of the competitors, maybe like the Headrush 108 or 112 or some of the Laney stuff. There's a lot of good stuff, the Mission Gemini series. I like the fact that it looks like a guitar cab. It's really well constructed. Yes, the price is a little bit higher than some of the competitors, but it's something that's going to last and something that I can use with lots of different things. But yeah, in terms of like a value proposition, what are you getting? You're getting made in USA build quality, if that's important to you. You're getting something that has been made from the ground up by, you know, designed or whatever by Dave Friedman, or he puts his stamp of approval on it, and it's built by Friedman amplification versus, you know, some of the Headrush stuff. It's an alto PA speaker, and you're basically paying Headrush to use an alto PA speaker and put their logo on it. And with the Laney stuff, I don't have any experience. I know that there's a lot of people that are really happy with the Laney stuff, and it looks cool. It's got some of that underglow lighting or whatever it is, so it lights up the logo and it looks like a cabinet as well. And I think that might be a good way to go. From the research I've done on the Mission engineering stuff, I found that for what I wanted, it probably wasn't the way to go. I think they're a little heavy as well for what they are. I think you can get lighter versions of it, but they are a bit more expensive. And I basically went with the Friedman because a person that I play with regularly had one. I was able to hear it, and I mean, he bought his used for a pretty decent price, and I couldn't find one used, so I had to go the new route. But all in all, I've been really happy with it. As I said, it's very capable of keeping up with a drummer and keeping up with a band. I'm sure more so even if you go with the 12-inch speaker versus the 10-inch, and I've been happy with my purchase. So as always, thanks very much for tuning into this video. I hope you got something of it. If you're thinking of getting one of the Friedman products, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know what version or model you're going to get, and maybe the distributor that you're going to get it from. If you're in Canada, I think GuitarWorks is the main one you're going to deal with. Maybe Cosmo Music or whatever it is. I'm not too sure if they deal with Friedman, but they may. But I find, yeah, Friedman stuff is not super common where I'm from, and they make really good amplifiers, and I think this is another product that has been a very good representation of their quality and their attention to detail. And as I said many times in this video, it is a bit more expensive than some of the other offerings, but for my use case, I've been really happy, and I'm going to continue using it. So if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that like button and leave a comment below. I try to answer all the comments. And as always, we'll see you in the next video.